Okay, it's time to start. Good morning to everyone. We continue today's program with keynote speeches on session B5. I have the pleasure to introduce Professor Dr. Kamal Nasser. Kamal was actually the first person getting the idea of holding this conference here in Kuwait. He participated in the previous ICABE in stretching, and we discussed the possibility to have this conference here. And thank you very much, Professor Kamal, for the great effort you have made, and we actually realized this conference here at this esteemed university. Professor Kamal has his master's degree and doctoral degree in accounting and finance from University of Cardiff in UK. He has taught in several universities here in the region and in UK. He has taught a number of universities in Great Britain besides Cardiff, in the Middle East, as a visiting professor in Birmingham and Glamorgan universities, in Qatar University, the American University of Beirut, the Higher Institute of Business Administration in Syria, the Academy of Graduate Studies in Libya, Al Ain University of Science and Technology in United Arab Emirates, New York Institute of Technology, Abu Dhabi and Bahrain, the Jain School of Global Management in Dubai, and at the Gulf University for Science and Technology here in Kuwait. Additionally, he has held various administrative roles, such as head of the accounting department, director of MBA programs, dean of the faculty of the College of Business, vice president, executive director, and many others. He has played a significant role in developing curricula at all levels, from undergraduate to graduate level at several universities. And he's here with us today, and I'm very glad to introduce Kamal to this session. Professor Kamal, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Which one, sir? This one? This one, right? नहीं वो तो मैं करना छोड़ दूँ Okay. You have 8 slides. This one. Just this side. This will go back and forward. Okay. Good morning, and thank you very much for this introduction. I'm not an IT man, by the way, but the main theme of what I'm going to say is how to accommodate technology in the business schools or in the colleges of business administration. So 1 second, please. Can I check here? Just only mic is working on. Sorry, sir. Way or this way? Go down this way? Still this way? Yeah, this way. Why it's not working now? Okay, I think yesterday I think we heard a very pessimistic way about AI and how AI is going to replace human beings, and most probably will end all of us without a job, jobless. No, today I think we're going to look at more optimistic way about how to accommodate AI in our academic programs and our curriculums, and with the focus on the business schools. Okay. Okay, there is no doubt that AI and technology is defining the future of the world. There's no doubt about this. And I think business school is not going to be exception. Business school's curriculum, curricula, business school academic programs, everything should be really adjusted, altered to take into account the revolution in information technology. Okay, so as I mentioned already, AI is transforming our work, learn and how to make decisions, okay? But institutions adopt AI tools without rethinking their deeper purpose. Now, we should know really how to adopt them, because as I said to the TV yesterday, who asked me about the purpose of this conference, the most important thing, how to use technology in a very responsible way, in a very ethical way, and to maintain sustainability. Because there is no point to make use of AI and to destroy the planet. We have to make sure that AI has been employed in a very responsible way, in socially responsible way, and sustainability is important. Sustainability means we have to maintain everything for the future. We can't really just look for profit and destroy the planet. So there is a need now to reshape our business schools because we want to have graduates, graduate leaders, policymakers, entrepreneurs who can take into account ethical issues, take into account social responsibility and sustainability. So we're going to move from memorizing to critical thinking. Okay. Now, by the use of technology, we have to move from just memorizing the way we teach, especially in the Arab countries. I think the Arab institutions, they still focus on memorizing, and there is no critical thinking. Then we need to move from automation to augmentation. Now, I explained what do I mean by this. Using technology to enhance human abilities, helping people think smarter, learn faster, and perform better. Now, technology will help us in using less time and becoming more effective, becoming more efficient, and getting good results quickly. Okay. This is the purpose of technology, not to replace us, but to help us in making things better, quicker, cheaper. Okay? But I should emphasize always social responsibility, ethical issues, and sustainability. And the next thing is moving from teaching technology to teaching with technology, okay? We have to teach by the use of technology. We have to teach by the use of technology, not only teaching technology. The next thing, our role is not to replace human intelligence, and this contradicts what has been said yesterday, that technology will replace human beings. No, technology shouldn't reduce the use of human beings, shouldn't result in unemployment. So technology should replace human. Our role is not to replace human intelligence, but to amplify it, use, to support, enhance, and extend the human capabilities, not to eliminate or substitute them, okay? So technology will be used by humans to make things effectively, okay? Because I always focus on the 3 E's. When you adopt something, it should be efficient, it should be effective, and it should be economical. These are the 3 E's: economical, cheaper, quicker, and good quality. So effectiveness and efficiency should be taken into account. Now, how the business schools will look, because here the focus will be on business schools or business programs. To prepare future leaders, schools must integrate AI thoughtfully across curriculum and culture. This transformation sits on three pillars. Now, the first one, we have to move from one level to another level, from AI 1, AI 2, or whatever. Every business graduate must understand data, algorithms, digital transformation. Now, the second thing now, this is the technical part of it. This is the technical part of it. And more importantly, is the ethical and human judgment. So we can't really use things without any constraints. Ethical issues should be taken into account when we design our programs, when we design our curriculum. Now, it's not going to, because you see, you can't really run a business school without interacting with other disciplines. So other disciplines should be really incorporated with the business schools. So interdisciplinary interactions is important, or collaboration should be important. Okay? So we can't do things on our own. So if we're going to develop our programs to accommodate technology, this should be in coordination with other colleges, with other disciplines. Otherwise, we end up in some way, and they are in a completely different way. Okay, the next one is building AI-infused institutions. So we need to redesign our program. Now, designing our programs by itself is not the only thing we have to do. It's not the only thing we have to do. We have to evolve as AI enables easy ecosystems. How? Now, we have to introduce faculty development, equip educators to use and teach AI confidently, because there is no point really to have technology and you don't have anybody to use the technology or to make use of the technology. So the first thing, we have to equip our educators to make sure that they can use AI in teaching. And the second thing, personalized learning. Use AI analytics to tailor learning experiences, and then industry partnership. Now, we can't really, I always believe, especially business schools, you can develop your programs, academic programs, even your curriculum, because yes, there might be a good textbook, you can teach it in USA or UK, but you can't teach it in Kuwait. It is outstanding if you teach, because the nature of business environment in USA is not as the nature of environment in Kuwait. The nature of environment in UK is not as the nature of environment in Kuwait. So in this way, we have really to tailor technology to take into account the industry. Now, if you're going to design, let's say, MBA, you have really to consult with the industry in order to get MBA which really cater for the local market. And this is really very important, because really I can't design an MBA here and my graduates can't find a job in the Kuwaiti market. Now, another thing which should be focused on is applied research, encouraging inquiry into AI, economic, ethical, and cultural aspects. Now we're going to move to, you see, here we looked at the programs, okay, we looked at the training of those who are going to adopt these programs. Now we have to move to the human aspects, the human dimensions. While AI can process data, they can help you in processing data, in collecting information, in putting things together. But they can't feel. AI can't feel. AI can't stand values. They can't measure values. Okay? You as a human can feel, can measure values. Okay? As educators, our mission is cultivate ethical, creative, and compassionate leaders who use AI to advance sustainable, inclusive growth. You see, because I work for 4 years in development. I work 4 years in development. We can't say we spend 2 billions or 3 billions or 50 billions on developments without looking at the outcome. Okay, without looking at the outcomes. Now, what do I mean by the outcomes? Here, yes, we spend 50 billion, it's a lot of money on development. But what's the outcome? Sustainability, continuity. It is important to know what's the outcome of your development, because we said, okay, so we spent last year 2 billion in Africa. Okay, what's the outcome? How this affect employment? Okay, how this affects the quality of life, okay? We don't have this until now. We don't have this. So there is, because you can say economic development, it's not enough. Economic development and sustainability. Sustainability is very important. And the other thing, when we design our programs in the business schools, we have to take into account that the programs are human-centered, education is human-centered, guided by empathy, integrity, and social purposes. I keep emphasizing the social responsibility. I keep emphasizing ethical issues. Now I'm talking about the GCC countries or the Gulf region. AE central to national visions for diversification and sustainability. I think usually when we talk about one GCC country, we talk about the others, because if you look at the GCC countries, there are 6 countries, by the way, for those who don't know: Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Qatar, Oman, United Arab Emirates, and Bahrain. Yeah. So there are 6 countries. Those 6 countries share lots together in terms of culture, in terms of economic development, in terms of religion, in terms of everything. So they share a lot. Because of that, most of our research here in Kuwait focus on the GCC countries. Because one country and so on is not big enough, but we focus on all of them. So coordination between these countries is really important for the future of the region. Business schools here can lead globally by creating models that merge technology and innovation with cultural and ethical values, rooted in integrity, community, and stewardships. And again, I keep saying, we can't really design programs similar to USA or UK. We have to design programs that suits the culture and the environment of the GCC countries. Even if you compare the GCC countries by other Arab countries, they have some similarities and some differences. So the program design maybe in Lebanon might not be the same as a program design in Kuwait, because Kuwait and other GCC countries have their unique features, different than business environment in Lebanon or in Jordan. And this is very important. The next one, this is our opportunity to make AI-infused education not only cutting edge, but also authentically human and regionally relevant. So in this case, it's always the case. If you do something in Kuwait, it can be applicable to all GCC countries. If you do something in Saudi Arabia, it can be applicable to other GCC countries. To close, to go beyond the hype means saying AI not as a trend, but as a transformational tool, one that redefines how we teach, how we learn, and how we lead. Let us ensure our students do not merely adapt to AI, but shape it responsibly, using technology to build more just, sustainable, and innovative societies. The future of education will not be written by algorithms, but by humans who design them with wisdom and purpose. Thank you very much.
We are on time, so we may take a couple questions for Professor Kamal, if you like. Any question? Yes, please.
Because when we are speaking about using AI, and we are talking that it's not about replacing humans, but AI will replace those humans who are not using AI. how should we, what do you think, how should we, or maybe on what should we focus while teaching our students to teach them using of AI, but in a very proper and ethical way?
Thank you very much, because I think the question is how I'm going to set exams, how I'm going to give homeworks, and any question I'm going to ask them, they go to the AI, and the AI will answer the questions. And I think this requires really an overall development of the programs. The method of teaching should be different, completely different. The way of teaching should be different, and the assessment should be different. We're not going really to deal with it overnight. It takes time because, as Dr. Tarasimas mentioned, I developed programs almost in most of the Arab countries, business programs. So I was in Qatar to develop programs. I was in Libya to develop programs, in Lebanon to develop business programs. That was before this innovation era. Now we are in the middle of this era now. We have to look at different means on how to assess, how to set exams, how to teach. And we have to work on this. And I don't think a small group of people can do it on their own. It has to be a worldwide initiative. And I think it might be a good idea really for some universities to sit together and to come with good ideas. Let's say 5, 6 universities from the Middle East and Eastern Europe, Western Europe, they can sit together and they come with a good model and they might have this initiative. But now, yes, what you're saying, your concern is there because I emphasize ethical and social responsibility all the time. Every time I mentioned AI, I kept emphasizing these 2 points. They are in the back of my mind, but as I said, this is a worldwide initiative, so things must be changed. Yes. Go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Absolutely agree that we have to redefine teaching in a new model using AI. But my question is, what can we do to change teachers' attitude towards this new tool? Because most of them, especially in Poland, are afraid of this tool because of ethical and not only ethical problems.
I think if you go back 10 years ago, where they start using lots of technology, lots of lecturers resisted this change in technology. They used to face difficulties in using PowerPoint and using too many things. But then they start to adopt. I can't really claim that this can be changed overnight. It takes some time. Now, why you are a bit itchy about the use of AI now? Because until now, we haven't really invented something new to prevent students from using this technology in order to get some quick answers. Even, to be honest with you, here in this part of the world, they are expert in cheating. During the exam, because they have the money to buy high-tech equipment just to get the answer to somebody outside university and to answer them and to have something in their ears and to write. Okay, so we've been used to a very innovative way of cheating here. Now, we have really to work together now. But let me tell you something. If you set for exam in UK, those are professional exam, let's say CIMA, CBA, CFA, it's very difficult for anyone to cheat if they sit for the exam. But if they sit for a different exam somewhere else, they can cheat because they have a system which prevents students from cheating. Now, there are always ways to avoid something, but again, this provokes something in return to prevent this. I'm sure at the end of the day, we're going to reach something where everyone will be at ease now. For those staff who are not used to AI, I think they are going to go through a sort of training program for sure. They have to find a way to go through training programs. And I think it might go to school as well. It might start from school. You have to start with the use of AI in a responsible and ethical way at school. And when they come to the university, I think things become easier. It's difficult to answer these questions nowadays, but I think by time they will find ways to solve these problems. Yes?
because I'm vice rector of organization, I'm responsible for education of academic teachers. And I have very simple recept for this question. Education, education, and education. When I put in my university system of electronic documents, I make 80, no 18, 80 dates of training for 2,000 people. And now the 70% of documents in our university is in electronic version. And I think it's with AI we have the same recept. Education, education, and education, because they afraid. Why? Because they don't know it. Something that I don't know, for me it's the strange and maybe danger. If I know it, I'm friend of it.
To me, nothing is impossible. Everything is possible. And the lawyer is supporting me anyway. Yes, 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 yes.
Answering to this question, because I have very new expression, very fresh one from my Erasmus, which I've taken in Istanbul. They are at MEF University. They created flipped classrooms, so they changed completely the way of teaching. And I received from them a book about this flipped classroom, and there was 3 short stories, and maybe these short stories will be the answering on professor's question: how should we change the point of view of our colleagues? Because there were three stories about 3 people. One born in 60s, 70s, using pencil, using traditional books, no Xero, no other things, and they were studying in these years. Second person was born in 80s, 90s. They started to use computers for taking notes, and they were like just trying to follow the new technologies. Even they know internet, which was created that time. And the third generation is Gen Z generation. I don't like this term, Gen Z, but this is the truth. And they are born with computers, with laptops, with tablets, and they are completely different way of teaching, of learning themselves, of existing in nowadays. So maybe showing to our colleagues these very simple 3 stories to understand how the world changed. What professor also said, that previously PowerPoint was something exotic for us for using during conferences. Maybe this is the way, and as professor said also, education. We are very open, I think, and we thought with Network for Clinical Legal Education to create some ethical rules also of this. And I think that that professor started very big conversation and discussion about this, about doing something connected as this conference, economics, business, and of course lawyers, because sometimes we can be useful for you.
Yes, I think she's taking it. You see, with the faculty members, it's easy to solve the problem. But what about students? I can give you my experience here. Okay, here students come to the classroom without a pen, without a paper, without anything. So first of all, I force them to bring a pen and a notebook. Because I said, if you're not going to bring a notebook or iPad or anything, you're not going to pass. Because I explained too many things, and if you don't take notes with these formulas, with these questions I solve, you're not going to pass. So they ended up everyone coming with the iPad, and when I look at the iPad, I was impressed. Now, if I use red color, I see him using red color because this is important. Now, nothing is difficult. It takes time because always people resist change. Because they are used to something, they don't want to change it overnight. But when they feel changing it will help them, even our staff, because if we enter the grades online, they have to submit all their courses. We have a file for every course. I have to look at it to make sure that it is updated. Okay? At the start, they resist. They don't want to do this. But for quality control, we have to do it. We have to monitor quality. Then you find out they do it, and sometimes they do it better than me because I'm the one who showed them how to do it. But at the start, they think it's going to be difficult. They're not going to be able to do it. But once they do it, it becomes a habit. Okay? So slowly, I think we'll get there. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Oh, you have one question?
Sorry, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you so much for the presentation. It's just a suggestion, shall we say, okay? As AI exists in our nowadays life, I think in terms of education, we need to change the style of our education in terms of changing the online assessment to paperwork assessment, a great idea. Instead of using online assessment, we could replace it to paper exams assessment. In this way, we will secure our future for our students. Okay.
I can see what you're saying because, yes, I adopted both. I adopted online assessment and paper assessment. In online, everyone will get A because it's easy to penetrate the system and no, but this is not the solution. No. If we're going to go for the innovation era, no. Now we're going to develop. No, it's to be honest with you, because I was the president of Rhine University. Well, I faced the same problem. I used to jam the telephones, not even the internet. I used to jam the telephone, even to make a mobile phone, to jam it. In this country, regulations don't allow me to do this. Okay? Now, I can jam the system. I can do online exams, and I can get exactly the same results as writing on papers, but I need the equipment to prevent students from making use of the technology, because here they have the money, they can buy the high-tech technology to reach anywhere, and it's a challenge here. It's really a challenge. It's really a challenge. But if I jam even the phone, they can't make a telephone call, then that's it. They can do anything. I've done it in the MLS because I bought a small tool where no one in the campus, in the whole campus, can make a telephone call during the exams. But I couldn't do this here because they told me regulations in this country doesn't allow to do this. Okay? So we shouldn't really avoid doing the right thing because of this. No, we have to find the right thing to do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Kamal, again. Excellent presentation. So the bottom line is this. As teachers, we have to change the evaluation of the students. I strongly believe on personal interviews, personal examinations. It takes more time, but they are very objective. By the way, Professor Gounopoulos explained to me a case which is very interesting to spend a couple of times to hear it. It's very, very important.
Okay, I will explain to you the most extreme case of plagiarism that I have experienced in my life. Many years ago, around 15 years ago, a student submitted an assignment, and he has taken, as I realized, a lot of parts from one of my academic papers. Of course, I immediately put his coursework in the system, and it was not showing any cheating at all. And of course, it was super strange. How can I cheat whole parts of one of my papers in his assignment without saying any plagiarism? I spent 45 minutes around to try to see what he has done. And what the guy did was the following. He replaced the English O with the Greek O, and all the letters that were common in the two alphabets, he replaced it from English to Greek. And by replacing the letter, of course, it's a totally different word, because it doesn't have the English. It has another languages, Omicron, for example, or I. And of course, the system couldn't recognize even a single word. So this has been the most extreme case I experienced, and I'm sure you may have experienced the same, but you didn't realize. But this is one of the most advanced ways for someone to cheat. Thank you very much.
So let's try to see, to verify. To verify. Okay, it's time to introduce the second speaker, Professor Slavomir Bukovsky. He's a good friend. Since 20 years ago, maybe, we first met in Athens in another conference, and we remain close friends. Professor Bukovsky has a honoris causa degree from the University of West Attica in Athens. He is the head of the Department of International Business and Finance at the University of Kazimir Pulaski Random University. He's rector for quite a long time, and he will remain in this position for till, I don't know, 20 to 30 or something. He was former CEO of a consulting firm, B&C Economic and Legal Services Ltd. in Radom, member of supervisory board and consultant in the firms of public and private sector. He was chairman of the Institute of Council for Research Network, Institute for Sustainable Technologies in Radom, member of supervisory board in Euro-Asia Council in Warsaw. Professor Bukowski is the author of more than 250 scientific papers, publications, books, 7 books, numerous papers in English, Polish, and Russian, editor of 8 books, author of and co-author of more than 150 scientific reports. He has given lectures at several universities in Belgium, in France, Germany, Great Britain, Greece, Italy, Portugal, Russia, Slovakia, Spain, Turkey, and he continues his academic career traveling around and participating in different conferences. And I'm very glad I have Slavomir here, and very pleased to see you soon in another conference, or maybe you accommodate next ICABE in a few years. Okay. Okay, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Okay, title of my presentation is this one. Title of my presentation is not typical. A few words about something about the paradox. I linked a few words of paradox of economics and entrepreneurship with the challenges of the 21st century. So, if we'd like to begin this problem, we can find a few words in the famous book of Francis Fukuyama from the 90s, The End of History and the Last Man. Famous books, and in the 90s we think that as a Fukuyama, that liberal democracy and associated with this democracy free market are, as according to Francis Fukuyama, the ultimate superior form of government, better than fascism and communism. It would also be the end of history. End of history by Fukuyama is the end of the conflicts, of the problems, political problems, military conflict, social problems, and the other. 90s, as another famous man, novelist, Professor Krugman, wrote, 90s was roaring 90s, roaring for economy and society. So now we have that it is not true. Of course, it's true that 90s was roaring years, yes? But it is not true that it is the end of history. Now we have threats to liberal democracy, ecological and climate crisis, dangerous, extremely right-wing, xenophobic, racist turn in many societies problem with military conflicts. All those phenomena influence also economy. Economists and other representatives of social sciences try to find new paradigms. especially in economics, it is difficult. Economics is a specific science, which is as a physics, if we look at the methods, implementation of mathematics, quantitative methods in social sciences. Especially in economics, as I said, it is difficult. Can we discover and formulate new paradigms in economics other than based on the concept of Homo economicus? Homo economicus is a concept of man or woman who is active in economic matters, economic life. So, economic sciences, plural sciences. If I say economics, I mean economic sciences. It is unity of economics, finance, and management. Though, these are social sciences and maybe a bit humanities. After all, we study the behavior of people, human individuals, households, human communities, and more broadly, societies. The relationship between the economic sciences and it is a relationship and connection between the economic sciences and other social sciences as anthropology, social psychology, psychology generally, sociology, political sciences, cultural studies. And this connection is great. It's very strict. This is reflected in the contemporary subdiscipline political economy. We have economics, we have political economy. Political economy links, search the economic phenomena on the background of the sociological, cultural, political, etc. opportunities. And we have different classification of sciences. I think that the best for economic sciences is a Journal of Economic Literature in details. The sources of our economic sciences are different. Xenophon, Adam Smith, Say, Mill, Keynes, Friedman, Lucas, and others. Polish professor Marian Gorynia emphasizes, and I agree with him, that what connects economic sciences, economics, finance, management, is the issue of economic efficiency. It's a central problem in economic sciences, economic efficiency. The Nobel Prize winner, my lovely Nobel Prize winner, one of my lovely Nobel Prize winner, I like his book, and thinking Gary Becker from Chicago Sweet Water School extended the method of new classical analysis to areas not all related to economics, as sociology, as psychology, and the other. The purpose of science is to pursue truth. Scientific knowledge and common sense knowledge are two different things. The latter often leads us astray intellectually. Common sense tells us to look for simple certainties that would explain reality in a simple and understandable way. Common sense knowledge usually leads astray. The scientific method, which includes ways of intersubjective cognition, communication, which includes ways of intersubjective knowledge based on the laws of logic, probability, using deduction, and systematic induction in the process of formulating, justifying, testing, and correcting theories and hypotheses, allows us to learn about the reality and create scientific knowledge. Scientific theories are falsified as a result of testing and are replaced by new theories and better explain reality. Positively tested theories has received corroboration. You feel that it is the nobody as a Professor Karl Popper, yes? And I think that falsificationists in modern sciences, not only in the sciences, social sciences, but also in the nature sciences, is very good method of verifying theories. So the task of science is not only to face emerging problems. During the crisis 2008-2012, some economists, of course, also, but not only say, what for economics when we have no possibility to forecast that will be the crisis? Famous professor, one of the professors from Chicago, famous, said, okay, we construct the model and we publish the results today. The results say us that for 1 year will be the crisis. The crisis will be tomorrow. The crisis will be tomorrow, not for the year. Yeah? It is the task of sciences is not only to face emerging problems, but above all to provide knowledge that allows those who are called to do so by society in free democratic elections. We must remember Montesquieu maxim and the warning it contains. Mathematical theorems are considered true because it is in no one's interest to consider them false. Problems. Does the theory explain the studied really well? What criteria should be used when comparing different economic theories? Which theory is better than another and why? How does scientific knowledge accumulate and how does science develop? Firstly, I said about the Karl Popper, but we have some main methodological positions. Verificationis, Kant, Hume, Descartes. Falsificationis, Karl Popper. Instrumentalis, the concept of scientific revolution by Kuhn. The concept of scientific research program by Imre Lakatos. Rhetoric, Donald Ordina McCloskey. And I must say that one is very important, what the Thomas Kuhn wrote in the structure of scientific revolution. He wrote about the definition of paradigm. What is paradigm? Yes? Paradigm is a set of concepts and theories forming the foundation of a given science. Paradigm, it is basic worldview, features of a good theory, theoretical framework for analyzing problems, techniques, and tools of empirical testing of prediction and hypothesis. The paradigms of science are not eternal either. In the social sciences, they can change relatively quickly in relation to the natural sciences. It is not dogma. If it's in any discipline is dogma, this discipline is not science. All is relative. So, what is economics? Usually we say that economics is a science which deal how the people, individuals, societies make a choice concern how to apply scarce resources, limited resources, yes? It is very good definition because we know that we can make optimization, implement mathematics, quantitative methods based on the mathematical statistics. But there is also the broader definition. I read it because it's a citation from one of the known in Poland economists, now emeritus professor Kazimierz Kuczyński. The driving force of human action is the desire to preserve one species and oneself. This forces you to earn a living and take care of them preventively. This thriftiness breeds greed and fear. The point is to have more and not to lose it by accident. These two thoughts organize our thinking about the economy and management. They also permit that way of practicing economics understood as the science of the economic society and the managing man, about the acquisition of livelihoods by him, about how to gain them effectively, about how to earn from it, or in any case not lose, about the related mechanisms, independencies, regularities, and the laws. So, what is the economics questions concern basis of paradigms? First question, is Homo economicus alive? It's difficult to answer. Are maximizing actions an innate human instinct, as the other instincts? As Aristotle said, man is a zoopolitical. Are they dictated by the survival instinct? So is it natural to strive to maximize profit? In the short term, the rate of return on capital, and in the long term, to multiply the owner's wealth. For example, another word, the value of the company. So is it also natural to maximize utility within your income and given prices? Are methodologically rational actions dominate, while irrational ones are more or less marginal? Is the concept of Homo economicus justified as the basis for many paradigms in economics? I will not answer simply. Maybe I will suggest, let's research and discuss, but I'm inclined to concept of Homo economicus as the basis of the paradigms in economics. We can discuss. After all, science is also about asking questions. Economics as a science should be positive. Of course, we can formulate recommendations for economic policy, monetary, fiscal, industrial, okay, but positive, because as a physics, as other sciences, what we do as a economics, we look, in metaphora, look at our reality, and we'd like to discover the principle of economics, principle of human actions, About these human actions, very good wrote the von Mises many years ago. Purpose of economics as a science is understanding for understanding. Understanding for understanding. Methodology is formal and abstract, serves to separate economic factors from social and political ones. Normative economics is quite different. What we discover? We discover in economics stylized facts, general patterns identified in the statistical characteristic of economic areas. This is a simple model, yes? Example. Today we analyze some models during the previous section. The great importance is of mathematical economics and quantitative methods, mathematical statistics, econometrics, computer sciences. Now also AI, about AI, said Professor Kamal Nasser previously. So now, but it is one we should pay attention that in proper use of quantitative methods, boils down, as Thomas Mayer wrote, to driving a Mercedes down a cow trail. It does mean that we should very carefully choose the quantitative method and test the results. In economics, metaphorically, we can use the famous from physics Heisenberg uncertainty principle. Why? As in physics, if researcher, economist, make research, he is also the object of those research. Because I think about me, how I react on any economic impulse. Changes of taxes, yes, for example, changes of interest rate, and how you react for this. Yes? That it is the second very important probability. Generally, probabilities in quantitative mechanics, in physics, and in economics is also. Yes? All is probably. All is probably. We have no possibility to be 100% sure that anything will be. Yes? Probability. But it is the charm of economics and charm of business activity. Yes? It is adventure. That it is based on the probability. Normative and positive science. Famous Hume guillotine. Positive facts, normative values. Positive, objective, subjective. No, descriptive recommendations, science, art, true, good, bad. We can't say that price is good or not, that profit is good or not. Maybe Sir Thomas from Aquin, he has a theory about the good price, good profits, but now we know, yes? We deal with this positive approach. In economics, there are no good or bad. No good prices, not bad prices, not good profits, not bad profits. Of course, the politicians say something normative, but politicians are politicians. Have no time to time have problem because are not good lawyer, not good economist. That politician to be politician is better, easier, especially in each country. Normative economics, as my friend Professor Gorynia said, is partially scientific. But I have a question. If anything can be partial, if the act can be partially good, partially not, of course not. That normative economics is not science in this meaning. Of course, we have the mainstream in economics. Keynesian, there are many Keynesian schools, yes? Orthodox, Keynesianist, Cambridge school, New Keynesian school, monetarist, new classical economy, new school of real business cycle, economics of supply, the new Austrian school. This school is on the border between the mainstream, the orthodoxy and heterodoxy. Yes, it's between. It is difficult to classify. And heterodox, Marxists. In the eastern part of Europe, we know Marxists very good. from the years of 80s, 70s, when Poland and Lithuania was under the Soviet occupation. Marxists, new institutionalism, Veblen, North, traditional borderline institutionalism, post-Keynesian economics, Joan Robinson and famous Hyman Minsky, who, especially in the context of the last financial crisis, his theory is very good to analyze this crisis, the fragility of finance and the other. Yes? is also the feminist economics, ecological economics, and one theory about which, as an example, how to heterodoxy go straight. I deal with the Rayworth donut theory. Of course, this first Marxist is no good. New institutional, post-Keynesian, those are traditional heterodoxia. Yes, heterodoxic economics. It's very useful. Yes, feminist economics is something as a joke. That ecological, some ideological, and I have to adapt it if it is the science. Great word. You just a moment see. We have selected representatives. You know these names. Milton Friedman, Gary Becker, Robert Lucas, Paul Samuelson, Gregory Menkiw, Romer, Kenneth Arrow, Robert Solow, Daron Acemoglu, Eugene Feynman, and heterodox, Hyman Minsky, Joan Robinson, and we have a new. Kate Rayworth, Herman Daly, Amartya Sen, Noblis, Marian Mazzucato, Grigorios Karis, Joseph Stiglitz, Thomas Piketty, very famous, but there are no time to discuss about the Piketty, but he made a lot of mistakes in his book about the capital of the 21st century. But it is for another discussion, Stephanie Kelton. Comparison of the paradigms. This is a traditional paradigm, as we see Homo economicus, universal economic laws, equilibrium models, economic growth, nature as a resource, an external element, mathematical model, formalization, optimization, limited to market failure correction. If we look at the role of state, yes, role of state in mainstream is generally limited, especially in the school as a monetarist, as a real cycle school, as a supply side economics, small government. Of course, now we have a big government. It is not good for the taxpayer, for the people who are active in the business. Yes, and the societies count and think that government, majority of societies in Europe, for example, think that, okay, government gives us the money, but from those money, not from the tree, not from the partial tree, from the pocket of taxpayers. Economic crisis, balance, disorder, external shocks, subjects. We have the heterodoxial, it is not united, but we have the socially embedded individual operating in conditions of uncertainty and emotion, and it is what you do. But it is a problem. This one is based on the Homo economicus. If we say that, okay, maximization of profit of the property, maximization of utility is natural as an instinct, as the same instinct as the Freud's libido, as the instinct to eat something, yeah? To drink, yeah? Water, because it's very hot, for example, yes? It's the same if we agree that it is the same instinct, maximization, that the mainstream is better. The mainstream is better. So the fundamental question that determines whether sciences should be positive or normative is what is the purpose of science and what we study. I said earlier that the goal of the study of research is to explain principles of functioning of our reality, of our economic reality, how functioning of economy, of society in other social sciences, etc. Catherine Rayward construct the donut economy. What she made? She especially writes critically about the mainstream economics and say that, okay, from Adam Smith, by DeMille, by Samuelson, Milton Friedman, and Keynes and others, our point of view of those economists and this, that they teach students new classical economics, Keynesian economics, synthesis in the case of Samuelson, that this is the cause that people think about how to maximize profit, how to maximize another. You know, it is different. Not easy. That we as economists teach students to maximize profit, to be effective, yeah, etc., etc. Of course, it is not true. It is illogical, because from Adam Smith, by Keynes, by us, we discover the principle who are normal principle which explain how people naturally thinking about it that they have. Gary Becker disagreed with me. I agreed with him. that the maximization of profit utility, we have an income, we have a prices, and we maximize utility to spend money. That it is the natural instinct we have internally. And this donut theory, Rayward would like to say what should be. I am not interested in what should be. I am interested in how is and what will be the forecast based on the opportunities, today opportunities, and forecasted opportunities in the future, not how should be. How should be, it is not science. Yes? Of course, science should, in science we should recommend for the practice, make recommendations, but not say how should be. How should be is, I'd like to be the more richer and rich as the Bill Gates. Not yet. Better is Bezos, yeah. Better is Bezos. So, what are the conclusions? Economics today needs to reflect on its foundation, epistemology, methodology, and social functions. Homo economicus model alive and is good concept as a base for paradigm. Of course, heterodoxy, but serious heterodoxy, represented by Hyman Minsky, for example, by the post-Keynesian school and the other. It's okay, it's very useful, and we should use the methodological pluralism. Many methods, it depends on the what part of economic life we analyze, and the same about the same road Daron Acemoglu, Askerlof, and the other. In the end, economics and art. We time to time also economists are artists. Time to time I am also artist. When I am as a travel office, for example, come to me politician and ask, okay, you know how functioning economy. You know principle you say, if my goals, political goals are possible to achieve If yes, what method can be most effective to achieve those goals? Yes, limited time, of course, for growth. No politician in my country asked me and other scholars. They usually think, and they in the other countries also, as I know, after discussion with my colleagues, politicians after election, the parliament, to be member of government, think, okay, I have legislation from the nation. I am generally very good in all. In tax problems, in economics, in entrepreneurship, and other sociological matters, and etc. He's proud, but his false. It requires falsification. But of course, in the micro scale, we are artists because, for example, we are the member of supervisor board, or we are the consultant, we are the accountant, financial advisor. In micro scale, we have a very good artist, but in the macro scale, we have no opportunity. And last time, John Maynard Keynes, I finish this citation, the ideas of economists and political philosophers, both when they are right and when they are wrong, are more powerful than is commonly understood. Indeed, the world is ruled by little else. Practical men who believe themselves to be quite exempt from any intellectual influence are usually the slaves of some defunct economist. Madmen in authority who hear voices in the air are distilling their frenzy from some academic scribbler of a few years back. I'm sure that the power of vested interest is vastly exaggerated compared with the gradual encroachment of ideas. No, indeed, immediately, but after a certain interval. For in the field of economic and political philosophy, there are no many who are influenced by new theories after they are 25 or 30 years of age. So that the ideas which civil servants and politicians and even agitators apply to current events are not likely to be the newest, but sooner or later it is ideas, not vested interests, which are dangerous for good or evil. Let's try to pass to students ideas, knowledge, and skills that are new and serve good causes. Thank you very much.
I thank you, Professor Bukowski, for your thoughtful presentation. Now we move on, and I like to invite Zelena Stankuvienets or something. Sorry, I cannot pronounce your name. For the next speech. Let me say a few words about Zelena. I met Zelena some years ago at Vilnius University. I was invited by her to a conference they organized in your faculty.
Many years ago.
Many years ago. Okay. It was when?
We just look very young, but it's...
Oh, we were very young, eh? Okay. Sorry? Okay. Okay. Zelena is a professor at the Department of Finance at Vilnius University. First time I met her in another university as Dean of the Faculty of Economics and Business. Her main research topics include sustainable green finance, green economy, circular economy, financial management for value creation, risk management, knowledge transfer, higher education management, and multi-criteria decision methods. She is the author of more than 100 scientific papers, publications, most of them indexed in Web of Sciences and Scopus, Emerald, and other databases. She is the co-author of 3 monographs. We have a common book, I think, together on okay, 2 books. Throughout her career, she has been involved in European Union development and Lithuanian projects and gain solid knowledge and experience in developing international activities. She's actually very, very active on social media as well, because every day I can see 3, 4, 5 maybe notes from her. Since 2008, she has been editor-in-chief of periodical peer-reviewed scientific journals, included in databases Q2, Web of Sciences, Scopus, and the chairwoman and member of scientific and organizing committees in several international conferences. Currently, she's the editor-in-chief in the journal titled Economica, which is Q2, I think, on Scopus. Zelina, thank you very much for coming, accepting my invitation to be here today. And I'm very pleased to see you again, even after so many years. So the floor is yours. Thank you very much. Okay.
Good afternoon, dear colleagues. So thank you. I would like to, first of all, thank you very much for the organizers of this conference. Elle, you are the person who stands behind this conference, and we know how many challenges you had to proceed to organize this conference. But as the participants, we just feel that everything is going very, very smoothly. So we cannot notice anything wrong. For us, everything is going like a smooth process. So thank you very much for you. Thank you very much for Professor Kamal just to proposing this idea to organize this conference in Kuwait. And my heartful gratefulness, I'm extending my heartful gratefulness to the Arab Open University. For us, coming from Europe, it's just Arab world is another world. And before we come here, I, for example, didn't thought what we can expect here. So, but thank you very much. You are accepting us with such kindness and carefulness about us. Everything is so great here. So we're just like in Arab paradise, Arab miracle, Arab fairy tale. So thank you very much. And I would like to thank you as well, our colleagues and friends, because here we are just, with some of you, we are friends for a very long time. But such conferences is a very good opportunity to make new friends and to meet new colleagues. And usually when you meet a new person, new researcher, it's the possibility to start a new collaboration, to start new research. And I hope that our friendship will continue for many years ahead. So thank you very much. So, and I today to present because we're at the conference, which is what applied economics. So I tried to find to choose the research which is would have more applied research on my table now. So, and I will talk today about the green financial metrics and how we can linkage the financial and environmental integrity. As I already said, I am coming from a very different world, and in the Great Mosque of Kuwait, you said that the colors of Kuwait is yellow and blue, just yellow for sun and blue for sea. But in Lithuania, the main color is green. So, and Vilnius was named a European Green Capital to 2025, and Vilnius has a vision to be completely climate neutral city by 2030. And this achievement will be measured in 7 aspects, such as air quality, water quality, waste management, circular economy development, noise level, biodiversity, and climate change adaptation. And despite we are coming from the very different world, Kuwait and Vilnius, and I hope the colleagues, but we have a lot of in common. I think so, because one of the main problems what we're doing in Vilnius when we would like to achieve this climate neutral city in 2030 is waste management. Is one of the problem for all the municipalities. And the differences in the waste management approaches create a clear need of evaluation of waste management system performance. Municipalities play a crucial role in reinforcing existing imbalances in waste management practices, and by promoting these policies, and we have a lot of advertisement by our politicians at municipalities related to the environmental sustainability and zero waste initiatives, municipalities aim to construct a green image, something like windows dressing. And this strategic positioning often serves to further political ambitions, as the Professor Slavomir said, just made some comments about politicians. And however, for us, for scientists and researchers, the actual environmental and financial outcomes of these waste management practices remain questionable. Yes, so we would like, as economists, we would like to measure the effectiveness of these goals and these processes. So, and for us, it's important to examine whether the self-promotion of municipalities translate into the real improvements in environmental performance, and particularly through measurable financial indicators, because I am coming from finance department, and my main field of research is finance. So we based our research on the classical model of sustainable development, when we measured together the environmental performance, social performance, economic performance. But we just emphasize 2 main elements: the financial and waste management performance, how we can find the link among the finance and financial results and waste management. So this and to proceed with this question, with this research question, we had the idea to propose the green weight average cost of capital model. And we define it as a financial measure that reflects the cost of capital, yes, adjusted for environmental sustainability factors. And we tried to prove that this concept could be able to secure lower credit rates and demonstrate the financial efficiency of waste management process. So, the main goal of this research was to analyze the extent to which municipal environmental policies are linked to real improvements in both environmental and financial performance, and with particular focus on waste management practice. Our research methodology we can define in 3 main steps. First of all, we analyze the scientific literature on this topic, so it's on waste management, circular economy. So So, and after that, the second step as well were very important because we had the problem that we have a very limited data collected by our municipalities on which we can base our evaluation. So, and we gathered everything what we could from our municipalities and Environmental Protection Agency. It was with statistical data on waste flow in inhabitants living in the regions of Lithuania and economic entities operating in these regions. And on the third step, we created the conceptual model of calculation of two parts, green progress and green weighted average cost of capital. So, first of all, on the first step, we evaluated the main components for cost of that calculation. So it's a better risk-free rate of return on the stock market. On the second step, we calculated the classical weighted average cost of capital, yes, and we based it on financial reports of Lithuanian municipalities. And on the third step, we integrate the green progress into this evaluation process, and we collected the green progress data of 10 municipalities in Lithuania, and the companies which operates the waste management in these 10 municipalities. So, as I said, mentioned it before, the main data source was the apart the statistical data, we don't have a lot of it based what is related to waste management in municipalities. It was the data provided by our Environmental Protection Agency, and we had only data for the 10 regions of Lithuania, and we selected the major municipalities for it. We analyzed the data and calculated the green progress. And this green progress calculation was based on waste generated per capita and registered economic entities. And for the NT stands for the years of observation. The next one is what related to the weighted average cost of capital. We based our evaluation on the BEREC report on weighted average cost of capital. And the second one is the data from our stock exchange, which is operating in Vilnius. It's a part of NASDAQ Baltic Stock Exchange, and this evaluation was, a better evaluation was based on the main and secondary list of the companies included into this list. Then when we gathered all the information, we calculated for the weighted average cost of capital. Lithuania is divided into 10 counties, and within which waste management companies operate. And these companies were selected for the calculation of weighted average cost of capital. So it could be different kind of companies. They can be municipal owned companies. They can some of them are private owned company, and some of them has the mixed equity owned by the private and as well by the municipalities. In the third stage, we adjusted our weighted average cost of capital and compare it to the green performance, and we calculated this data for all the 10 municipalities here. And just I will skip all the intermediate calculation just to present the final results. What you can see here, first of all, we calculated the green progress. Yes, and you can see that the situation in different municipalities are quite different, and the progress it can be, and we can see the progress, and as well we can see the regress as well. We can see in some quantities minus 50, and some quantities is plus in 36. The next one is we calculated weighted average cost of capital, and on the next stage we compared it to the green weighted average cost of capital. And what can the conclusions we can draw from this results? And first of all, we can say that the green weighted average cost of capital finding demonstrates how municipalities' waste management initiatives impact their bottom lines. Yes, because this research, it was one step for the next our research, because we were developing the idea of the evaluating mini bond issuing by the municipalities for the funding of waste management processes. And the finding as well shows that the municipalities' environmentally friendly actions lead to the more accessible credit options. But as well, you can see that it's important to notice that in certain instances, the effect of green performance measures on weighted average cost of capital is minimal or non-existent. For example, what we can notify that, for example, for Alytus Conti, what we have in 2018, we have 8% green progress. But, for example, there are no difference in weighted average cost of capital or the green weighted average cost of capital for this year. And these examples illustrate the relationship between green progress and green weighted average cost of capital may not always be straightforward or predictable, highlighting the need for further investigation into the underlying factors influencing these metrics. And for this reason, we thought about the next step. And one of the next step, what we can do is, what we are thinking to do is to do more research on the greenwashing and take greenwashing into account, since municipalities may inflate their environmental performance, yes, as we see it and the data, but as well shows in some municipalities this, in order to display more favorable green weighted average cost of capital, which would mispresent the true efficiency of their waste management procedures. And for further research, what we think that, first of all, the current study evaluates environmental and financial performance, so we just link it all to these variables. And in future research, we can extend to include an assessment on the economic performance, not only on financial performance, but well as economic performance of municipal waste of management. Second step, it could be the sustainable waste management must encompass not only environmental, financial, and economic dimension, but as well we need to take into account a social well-being of local inhabitants. And lastly, its important avenue for future research could involve analyzing the influence of greenwashing on green weighted average cost of capital. So summarizing everything and concluding, so we have new ideas for new research, and I hope we will proceed further, and maybe I will have a chance to present at our further conferences. So it's about the literature, what was included. So thank you very much for your attention. If you have any questions.
Yes, you have any question for Jamil? Okay.
Thank you for a wonderful presentation. And I have only one question. What is the influence of politics of government for this situation? Because in Poland, from the 8 years, we had very bad politics for the local taxes, and the cities lost a lot of money, so they haven't enough money to invest in the, for example, green politics. So how is in Lithuania today?
I hope the situation is the same, because we have the same problem with taxes, and as well as our research show that we have the same problems with waste management and our other green achievements. But what our politicians do, every time they would like to emphasize that their very green approach, yes. They put it as the, for example, Vilnius is a green city, is the first what we are starting to talk about. So it means that we are only talking, but if we just check the facts, what we are doing, it's nothing, yeah. Yes, yes, it's green outside, and nobody could, so first of all, the first problem is we don't have data. Data is not collected about any, for example, waste management processes. So nobody can check. But if the politicians, they will come and we're starting, for example, running for the mayor of the city, we're starting to talk that we are the green city. We are approaching a lot of improvements in the green directions. But yeah. I think it's the problem not only for Vilnius, but I think it's for all of the Europe.
Thomas, and then
yes. I would like to know a bit further the conceptual approach. I understood that the green progress gives me a relation of the improvement of the waste generation. Mm-hmm. And now this is multiplied in a way with the weighted average cost of capital. But is the resulting number still possible to interpret as a kind of cost of capital? Is there some understandable way how this factor will actually reduce the cost of capital of the municipalities, or is the interpretation of the resulting quantity another one?
So here we need to talk that the green progress is measured, we measured the green progress in these municipalities, the first one. And the second one, variable, we measured the wasted average cost of capital of the companies which operates the waste management of these companies. And we're trying to link it, is if there is any linkage between these two variables. So the green progress, because only in Lithuania, it's a small country. It's only one company is responsible for the waste management in this region. So it means that we think that we don't have any other impacts, any other companies will we have particularly on the waste management in it. So yes, I think that our conceptual model will still working on it. Yes, of course it has limitations. Yes, but I think it's one of the step forward what we can do and to develop further this model. Mm-hmm.
It's the same as what he said, really, because just changing the working capital, calculate the difference between working capital in year 1 and year 2. What makes you really confident that this is attributed to green practices? It might be due to something else.
Yeah. So yes, it's one of the problems. So it's. Yeah, I agree with you. So we need to have more research and proceed with it. So.
Last question?
No.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We move on to the next speaker, Professor Thomas Barhart. Professor Thomas is a distinguished full professor in Germany. He earned his degrees in physics in 1990 and then in economics in 1992 from the University of Göttingen, where he also completed his doctoral studies summa cum laude in 1994. Following his PhD, he was a postdoctoral fellow at the Anderson Graduate School of Management at UCLA, working with Professor Michael Brennan in 1994 and 5. In 2000, he achieved his habilitation from the Technical University of Freiburg. Since 2001, Professor Barhart has held the chair of finance at the University of Koblenz in Germany. He has an extensive research focus on financial decision-making, asset management, derivatives, long-term investment decisions, including forest investments. He uses methodologies like mathematical modeling, optimization, economic experiments. Beyond his research, Professor Barhart has served in numerous faculty roles, including head of institute and head of the examination board in several universities. He is actively involved in international academic exchanges. He travels a lot, and he participates in many conferences. Thank you, Thomas, for accepting our invitation to be here today.
Thank you very
The
much
floor
for
is
the
yours.
kind introduction.
Thank you.
It was somewhere here on the desktop, I remember. Ah, yeah, okay, thank you very much. Can you put it in full screen now? Yes.
Can you move and
Yes, I got it. Oh, why I don't get back? Ah, okay. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I am very pleased to be here, and for sure I'm grateful to our hosts and especially to Professor Tanznas, who gave me the opportunity to be here. And today I would like to speak about a topic of investor behavior. And it is devoted to questions on how investors behave towards risk in the dimension of time, which is a topic, at least to my knowledge, which is in the finance community not really discussed. And I will review the underlying theoretical concepts of this, but not over in too much detail, because I was speaking about this on the last conference of this series. But today we'll present some experimental results which give us some information about the actually observed behavior. The talk which I will present is divided in the following parts. I will first of all give a short review or introduction. What is the meaning from time as a dimension of risk? And then I will quickly review what I denote as a time-optimal portfolio selection. And I will do this in a standard mean variance setting, which assumes by construction risk aversion on the part of the decision maker. Then I will review the concept of time-optimal decisions in general. And then we will come to the experiments and their results. And the main result, and this is quite surprising, at least it was surprising for me, is that in contrast to the typical decision making in finance, we get quite some evidence that in this risk in the dimension of time, we observe a quite risk-prone decision making. So let's go into the introduction, and first of all, review on a rather fundamental way the approach how we are doing financial theory. First of all, which is already a quite bold assumption, is that we assume that our investor is able to specify his goal. If you look in a little bit practical way on this, most of us are unable to do this, except maybe completely fantastical statements like, I want 30% risk-free, yes? But if you come to a balanced goal which you can work, we are hardly able to do. If we get something which is more or less usable as goal specification, we find in practice that this is typically a fuzzy statement, and this fuzziness concerns two dimensions. These are the dimensions of time and value together. So for example, our investor has the idea he wants to buy a house in a couple of years. So he doesn't know how much the house will cost, and he doesn't know exactly when he wants to buy it. So we have obviously fuzziness in these two dimensions. This is how real financial problems are formulated, and unfortunately, what we currently have on financial theory is simply not capable to handle it. That's it. So what we have available on theory somehow simplifies this situation in a more or less drastic way in such that as a result we get a decision problem which we can solve and is hopefully useful as an approximation to the truly given goal. And the classical approach is to take out the fuzziness in the time dimension. So I get told, 5, 10 years I plan, no, we can't deal with that, let's make 7.5. So we take out the fuzziness in one dimension, then only the other dimension is left, the value which we will have in 7.5 years, and about this we can make a nice theory, for example, for portfolio selection. So the classical approach is to take out the uncertainty in the time, and then we model the risk about the value at a certain planning horizon. This disturbed me all my life, essentially, when I learned this in study times, because I never was able to fix a time horizon. And I struggled with the fuzziness, and finally I did something else. I took out the fuzziness in the other dimension and considered the situation that I have a certain amount of money, and for whatever reason I need a higher amount of money. And if this is so, then the random variable which is relevant for our decision making becomes time, because if I make a risky investment, now the risk will determine if I will reach this higher level fast or after a long time. But again, we get the probability distribution of this point in time. This viewpoint alone shows that time should be a relevant dimension of financial risk. Now let's quickly go over the consequences of this approach for portfolio selection. What I just explained is graphically depicted in the two graphs which you find here in this picture. The classic approach to portfolio selection originated by Markowitz works in such a way that at time point 0, we invest money in a portfolio. At the same time, we fix a horizon, which means taking out the fuzziness in the time dimension. And if we fix the horizon, we can, if we know the stochastic properties of our portfolio, generate the probability distribution of the wealth we will get and base our decision on that. My approach turns this completely around, and I consider exactly the same portfolio, only I consider that I want to achieve a higher target price, and exactly the same stochastic now gives me the distribution of the goal reaching time, which is a probability distribution of time, and I can build a portfolio selection model on that. So I turn the classic approach something like 180 degrees around. Sometimes people like to discuss which model is better. This is a completely nonsensical question, because both models make a more or less drastic simplification of the situation which is described in a fuzzy way in both dimensions. The classic model is the better approximation for those who have more or less a given horizon. My time optimal model is the better approach for those who have a more or less defined wealth level which they want to achieve. So this depends on the actual goal which we try to approximate by our model. The consequence of this approach for portfolio selection is rather drastic. We all know, if we consider the classic approach and depict our portfolios in expected return standard deviation space and assume the risk-free asset is available, the efficient set is simply a straight line as depicted in this graph. If you consider exactly the same portfolio and their properties with respect when they will reach a certain value goal, the frontier looks curved like this. When we have a graph where we have here the expected time to reach the goal, various the standard deviation of the time to reach this goal. And as we want to have a short time to reach the goal and a small risk, considered a small variance, we find out that, for example, if we are able to reach this point by proper leverage, the whole part which is on this side here becomes inefficient, and this has the consequence that from the time optimal perspective, a considerable part of the portfolios which would be considered efficient from the classic perspective become inefficient. I know this is a little bit short telling about this, but I gave a talk the last year on the conference which detailed this a little bit more, but I hope I was able to transport the main idea. So now let's consider the decision-making concept a little bit more conceptual. The idea of time-optimal decision-making is that we consider time to reach a given goal as the variable of interest. And the consequence of this approach is that our object of decision-making is the probability distribution of the time when we will reach the given goal. And this probability distribution depends on the concrete portfolio choice, which means any possible portfolio which we can build is related to a probability distribution. So effectively, we choose about probability distributions. So the set of choice is a set of probability distributions related to the portfolio choices, and all of them are relative to the given Wells level for which they have been specified. And it's very important to understand that time-optimal decision-making does not mean that I have the idea to somehow derive utility from time. This is a nonsense. We derive utility from reaching the Wells level. The Wells level is connected with the consumption level, but our utility is depending on when we get it, and that's why it makes sense to make a utility model on that probability. To get this very straight, and to see very precisely the duality between the two assumptions, the classic approach picks the point in time. So the value which I have in that point in time is the relevant random variable on which the probability distribution is built, and portfolio selection is built on that probability distribution. In the time-optimal case, I fix the Wells level which I want to get. The random variable is the time when I will get it, and I build the further discussions on that probability. So they are, in a very nice way, dual, let's say. To get this in a perspective, and especially to understand that actually we want more, I made the following chart. If we buy a portfolio, yes, then we know the portfolio price process by its stochastic properties. For the portfolio which we have, it doesn't matter from what perspective you look at it. It simply behaves as it behaves because only how we look at it is the subjective part of the decision making. If we decide to look from the classic perspective, we fix by the horizon the target time, derive the distribution of portfolio price, and then have a preference model to make the portfolio selection. And the same is true only based on the time distribution. For the time optimal approach, we fix the goal, derive the distribution of the goal reaching time, and build our preference model on that. Both are in the same way missing the point that actually we have both. So the longer run goal should be this year to combine these two perspectives. I hope before I go to pension I can give you a talk about that. At the moment, unfortunately, I have to restrict myself on this. The next question is how we would characterize rationality in the context of time-optimal decision making. If we are talking about rationality in the context of decision making, this always means that we make some restrictions either on the admissible preference relations or on the choice set. Here we will only discuss restrictions on the preference set. And typically we have such restrictions. One such restriction is, for example, the axiomatic foundation of the von Neumann-Morgenstern expected utility theory. And on another occasion, we prove that the von Neumann-Morgenstern framework for decision making can be used for time-optimal decision making also. We all know that it has a range of defects, but anyway, it's a good starting point if you try to develop something new. And now the point is, how would the utility function look like for time-optimal decision making in this context? And this is the true topic what I'm going to discuss. And the situation is, if we want to find out something about these preferences, I found no other way to do this than to do economic experiments. So we set up some experiments to learn a little bit about these utility functions. Then is there something on literature on that topic? If we look at these things, we can first of all look in the area of economics. There's extensive literature on decision making, but the dimension of time is, to my knowledge, not discussed. There is a management literature. There is a little bit on time perception, especially in the area of marketing, where people are interested how certain marketing tools lead to a reaction. But here we are typically discussing very short time spans. And the same is true about the literature in psychology of time perception. We are typically dealing with time frames of minutes or maximum hours, but not about time frames which are relevant for investment. So really it was necessary to come up with something new. The next question is, what would be conceptually thinking about the shape of such a utility function? We all know from elementary decision theory that we distinguish, depending on the shape of the utility function, risk aversion, risk neutrality, and risk-loving behavior. And we also know that when it comes to the standard financial decision making with respect to money, the typical behavior is risk aversion. Risk aversion reflects itself in the shape of the curvature of the utility function, that we have a shape like this, concave. And if we would have risk-loving behavior, the shape would be convex like this. And if we consider this for the case of time as the variable, then essentially this has a shape which looks very much like a discount function. The discount function has the property, at least if we have positive interest rate, that the discount is higher if we go further in the future. So we should have a shape like this. And this is the first indication that maybe risk-loving behavior is not a completely unreasonable property of decision-making with respect to time. So we assume that the first derivative of the utility function should be negative because we want to reach our goal quick. So if we should make longer, the utility should go down. And what we want to find out in our investigation is the sign of the second derivative of the utility function. This is the goal. I developed a little bit more theory, but probably we will run out of time if I tell this. Let's summarize in one sentence. You can design a kind of Petersburg game which also would give you an indication that risk-loving behavior with respect to risk in the dimension of time is not unreasonable. And now let's go to the experiments. One more time, the main goal, what we have, we want to find out the sign of the second derivative of the utility function, not more. If you want the whole shape, it's much more complicated. And those who have ever dealt with economic experiments know that this is, let's say, not pleasant. If you are used to do experiments in physics, this is much more controllable than experiments with human beings. And so you need to have a set of control to figure out if what you measure is not an artifact of the measurement design, but that you really have something. We try to do it, well knowing that our result might depend on the experimental design, might also depend on the individual situation in which the people are. So we should control that there is not too much variation, and also for group affiliation and demographic factors. So we made experiments and accompanied this with some questionnaires which control about the group and the demographics that we can find out it's more or less okay, similar. And the whole thing is quite practical and relevant because it's related with saving goals. So we got some support from the Sparkassen group. And I will later explain that their support was even essential in the actual ability to make such experiments. Results, by the way, together with Martin Reimer derived. He made most of the experiments. Yeah. So how the experiment works? The decision task is a certainty equivalent methodology. Certainty equivalent methodology means that you give someone a choice between a lottery and a certain amount of money in the classical context. So for example, would you like with 50% probability 50 euro or 100 euro, or would you prefer 60 euro cash? Now if we transform this for the time optimal case, we have to do this with time. So for example, would you prefer to get the 100 euro with probability 50% in 1 year, or with 50% in 3 years, or would it be better for you to get it for sure in 15 months? So this is the task. And the subjects which we choose were students, 185, from the first to third semester. And this was important not to have higher semesters because the time frames which we considered should be such that they are still students within this time frame, not to have a break in their social situation. Furthermore, for sure, this needed to be implemented by some software. This was developed by ourselves. And instructions for the experiment were highly standardized, all the time presented by the same persons in all sessions to have not influence of the experimental design. Incentives, for sure, if you do economic experiment, it's quite important to give some incentives. For sure, you would like to have much higher sums to be able to pay, but we could at least pay up to 600 euros as value level, which could be achieved. But the real challenge in this was the time. Yes, if you make an experiment about wealth level, you made the experiment and pay the cash right now. If you want to have a time, how you tell that you should get the money in 3 years? Here was very helpful the support by Sparkasse. They made special documents which actually gave the promise that the participant in the lottery could, after, for example, 3 years, go to them and get the cash. So we could actually, in the experiment, implement these times, real, and not in any hypothetical way. And also we had a series of design variations to eliminate treatment effects to some. So now let's take a look on the actual experiment. The experiment worked like this. We fixed the probability. This was always 50% because other probabilities are difficult to imagine for subjects. We had some experience with that. And with probability P, you get the money after T1. With other 50% probability, you get the money at time point T2. And the subject should choose the time as a certainty equivalent, which would make him indifferent to get the money at this point in time or to play the lottery. And all was implemented by the certificate of Sparkasse that he would actually get the money in that point in time. So now it means, for the measurement perspective, if the chosen certainty equivalent in time is smaller than the expectation of the time, which is simply the average of T1 and T2, then the guy is risk averse. If it's equal, he is risk neutral. If it's greater, then he is risk loving. So the measurement of the second derivative was very simply done by this comparison. We had a second treatment, the first I just explained. In this case, we gave T1 a certainty equivalent, and he should choose T2. I will not go too much into the experimental details. We had a lot of variations in this task. For example, we had short time frames, medium time frames, and long time frames. The short time frames went from 1 to 9 months, the medium from 2 to 18, the long from 4 to 36. We have different treatments because we wanted to be as sure as possible that what we measure is real and not an artifact of the design. And in the experiment, the students had a software by which they could fix their equivalent by moving a sliding block between the two times, and by such a way could fix their certainty equivalent on a continuous scale. Here I give a short overview over the treatments. We had another methodology with pairwise comparison. This I will not report in this talk. I will only talk about the certainty equivalent results. We had various treatments in which we changed the order of the time frames. We had the real payments of variant size. We had hypothetical payments. And if you are interested in that, we can discuss the payment structure later. But it was incentivized with real money. And now let's come to the results. As I told you, our main goal is nothing more than to figure out the sign of the second derivative of the utility function, which means the propensity to risk. And here you see the various treatments. There is a second slide with more of them, but the structure is all the time the same. Red means risk-loving, what we usually not observed in the classical situation. Green is risk-averse. And then we have another category here, yellow, which I characterize as risk-neutral. For sure, in an experiment, you will never observe exact risk neutrality, but we simply considered a certain range around the expectation as sufficiently risk-neutral to classify it as risk-neutral. And now, by simply looking on this graph, you see that in most treatments, we see that the red area is the biggest one. And that besides that, we all the time also have a quite substantial yellow area, which means that with respect to risk in a dimension of time, we have quite a substantial amount of people who act risk neutral or even risk loving. And this is something completely new, because otherwise we don't observe risk loving behavior in a financial context at all. And here you see the second graph, which looks essentially the same. These are the other treatments of this table which I showed you before, with one exception. This is this one. And in that one, we changed the treatment. This was the situation where the student should not choose the certainty equivalent, but the certainty equivalent was given and he had to choose the time T2. So So still, for sure, we need more experiments to get a clearer picture about the risk propensity, but the results which we got here indicate that risk-loving behavior should be rather the norm than the exception when it comes to risk in the dimension of time. And we also have theoretical arguments which support this based on the Petersburg case. Still, what I couldn't manage so far is to build the proper portfolio theory on that. Maybe I will be able to discuss this on one of the future conferences. Here's a little bit more details on the treatment. Maybe we can skip that and come to the conclusion. And the conclusion is rather simple. First of all, probably it is reasonable to accept time as a useful dimension of risk in a financial context. With the time optimal approach to decision making, we have a framework for this. And within this framework, the results indicate that besides giving us additional useful perspectives, we can have a foundation with a sound axiomatic rationality approach. And within this approach, we find out that we tend to have risk-loving behavior, which is quite surprising. And so we have here a possibility to add to our knowledge aspects in the time dimension of risks, and this make one more time for yourself clear, we are all the time talking about the same portfolio. Yes? It's only up to us from what perspective we look at it. The new perspective only adds to our understanding of properties of a portfolio which we simply have, if we want or not. So it gives us a kind of additional classes to look at the problem. And the consequence might be that portfolio theory gives quite different results in applications if you choose that the time optimal approximation is for your application more useful. And probably other details we can skip on that, and if this will work, I could even move. No, I can't. Then I thank you very much without the proper slide.
We have no questions, Thomas.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. It was the most difficult presentation ever. Present.
Me? Yeah. I feel completely innocent.
Okay. So we have Simon on the other side waiting for us. We have a video tape presentation. So will you please, Simon is now it's the Dean of the Faculty of Economics, Management Accountancy at the University of Malta. He is also visiting professor at the University of Latvia. He was chairman of several associations in Europe, in Ferma, Primo. He has extensive research on compliance and insurance issues. He is the guest editor of several publications by Emerald, Springer, and he is very active. We are good friends since many years. He has an extensive professional experience working in banks and insurance companies. And today is his birthday. So Simon, if you hear us, happy birthday to you. Okay, we have a videotape. He could make it here because as a dean of the faculty, he has examinations and graduation today, actually, plus his birthday. So enjoy your day, Simon, and I wish you all the best in your life, love, happiness, and joy for your loved ones. Okay, do you have it?
Okay, the
distinguished colleagues, esteemed participants, and members of the ICABE 2025 community. I'm sorry for not being with you, however, in person. However, I will try to, virtually from Malta, try to, do this keynote speech as best I could. It is truly a pleasure to join, albeit virtually, from Malta, as I told you before, and I wish I could have been there personally in Kuwait. Unfortunately, university graduations and other activities are taking place this week, and obviously duty calls. Nonetheless, I am honored to share my reflections with you on a topic that sits at the very frontier of financial thought and innovation. The title that I'm going to go through, the keynote, is going to be on how decentralized technologies can evolve from instruments of rebellion into tools of stability. So we're going to talk about the emergence of Bitcoin. When Bitcoin emerged in 2009, it did more than just introduce a new form of money. It challenged the monopoly of nations, states, and central banks over monetary policy and questioned the very foundations of financial trust. For the first time in history, we witnessed the birth of a monetary system that could operate entirely outside institutional control. This was not just technological, it was political, economic, and philosophical. But with disruptions came a paradox. While decentralization offered empowerment, inclusion, and innovation, it also brought with it instability, volatility, and uncertainty. The dream of financial freedom came with a price: the loss of stabilizing functions that traditional systems had long provided. Today, cryptocurrencies exist in a governance vacuum. Regulators struggle to adapt old frameworks to borderless systems. Decentralized networks must find ways to embed transparency, accountability, and trust, not through authority, but through code. We are learning that governance in Delphi is not about removing control, it is about distributing it through verifiable protocols, auditable smart contracts, and community-led oversight. The ultimate challenge, therefore, is not technology, it is trust. And in a decentralized world, trust must be continuously earned. Bitcoin's greatest weakness is also its defining characteristic: volatility. Without stabilizing tools, price swings turn to the promise of monetary independence into a speculative roller coaster. Traditional finance has a central bank, interest rate policy, open market operations, reserves management. However, cryptocurrency have none of these. They are left exposed, unanchored, and often at the mercy of speculation. So to mature, decentralized finance needs a stabilization mechanism, one that doesn't depend on a central authority, but on market logic itself. So this is where our research introduces a novel idea: perpetual options as a mechanism for monetary stabilization. Imagine an option contract that never expires, a financial instrument that continuously hedges, balances, and stabilizes through market incentives. By creating soft ceilings and floors through perpetual call and put options, we can dampen volatility without fixing prices artificially. In our simulation, the system reduced volatility by 30 to 45%, even under extreme stress scenarios. It transforms destabilizing speculation into stabilizing market behavior. How does this work? A stability corridor is set a range within which price can move freely. When prices rise too far, call options counter upward momentum. When they fall too low, put options cushion the decline. In our stress scenario, a stabilization fund, which continuously hedges, buys low, sells high, and uses its option income to sustain reserves. The result is a self-financing market-driven stabilizer, not a central bank, but an algorithmic protocol that earns its keep by promoting equilibrium. We are replicating the function of monetary policy without centralization. Dynamic funding rates act like algorithmic interest rates. Self-correcting market mechanisms replace discretionary intervention. It is monetary policy by code, consistent, transparent, and verifiable. This represents a profound reimagining of how money can be governed, not by decree, but by design. The fund itself gains value through premiums, counter-cyclical trading, and liquidity provisions. Stability, therefore, becomes profitable, a rare alignment of financial and systematic incentives. Yet, no system, no matter how elegant, can survive without governance. Who sets the funding rates? How are reserves managed? And how do we ensure accountability in a trustless system? Our answer lies in radical transparency, algorithmic audits, and community governance. In decentralized systems, trust is institutional. It's procedural, visible, and earned line by line of code. So we're going towards a self-regulating digital monetary order. Perpetual options bridge the divide between decentralization and stability. They enable self-regulating digital monetary order, one that can support real economies, not just speculative cycles. They maintain autonomy, preserve transparency, and create resilience. In short, they transform crypto from rebellion into reliability. So this is not merely an evolution of cryptocurrencies. It is the emergence of a new monetary architecture. So what's the future of finance? The future of finance will not be decided by technology alone, as we are thinking today, AI and all the rest, but by how we govern, stabilize, and share its power. The tools to build a fairer, more resilient, and decentralized financial system already exists. However, the question now is whether we have the wisdom and coordination to use them responsibly. Let us work together, technologists, economists, regulators, and educators, to design a system that serves humanity, not just markets. So, thank you for your attention, and I look forward to your thoughts and collaboration on this journey towards a stable, decentralized, and inclusive financial futures. Again, I am sorry for not being there in person. However, I welcome any comments, any questions to my email, as you see over here, simon.grima@um.edu.mt. And I thank everybody for this invite and for letting me participate, although virtually, in this session. Thank you very much again, and hope you have a wonderful stay in Kuwait and a wonderful ICABE 2025. Thank you very much, and bye-bye. See you
Thank you,
next time.
Simon. Have a birthday to you. Okay, a couple more minutes. Please, the presenters to come here for their certificate. Okay, for Professor Jelena, just a minute. Okay. Come on the other side. Take this. Somehow I want this to wait. Good. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure. Thank you. Okay. And hope to see you again next year. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Professor Salamullah. Thomas.
After him, thank you.
Sorry. Yes.
Just a minute, because we have our camera.
Oh, okay.
So please,
again, we do it again.
Just here. Then after that.
Okay. Wait. We do it again. Okay. With the official camera, right? Okay. Okay, good.
Now all together.
No, slowly. And then all good. Okay. Okay, and then Thomas? And then all together.
No, he's okay. We thought.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
All together.
all together.
And this for Grima? All together? Yes. Okay. Okay. Good. Thank you very much. We have coffee, lunch break now, and then we come back for the parallel sessions before
Thank
the
you.
end of the.
Thank you so much. And the lunch from the left side, please. Thank you.
Thomas, this is also for you, Thomas, as a moderator. And this one, okay, Madetinos is not here.
خلص الحين غدا دكتور. غدا.
Maria.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome.